Good morning. I invite the festival co-director of Jaipur Bookmark, Neeta Gupta, on stage to begin the festival.
Good morning, friends. On behalf of our festival directors, Namita Gokhale, Sanjoy Roy, and myself, welcome you to the 6th edition of Jaipur Bookmark. It's just fabulous this morning, the sun, and it's, every year when we're planning, we wonder why we're doing Jaipur Bookmark. And then I invoke these facts. And the facts are, we're a country with over 9,000 publishers, with 40,000 people directly employed in publishing, 20,000 bookshops or retail outlets, organized, unorganized, serving 1.3 billion people, of whom 1 billion own cell phones, and 500 million people have access to the internet. So it is so relevant that we sit down and we look at this publishing industry, we look at it clearly, we look at how we can collaborate with publishers coming from across the world. We understand what we're doing, and Jaipur Bookmark is that space to understand these millennial opportunities in publishing. So thank you all of you for being here. Thanks to our partners, the Royal Norwegian Embassy, our country partner. For the last 6 years, thank you so much for really believing in us. Thank you to our associate partners, the Seagull School of Publishing, who've come on board this year, and we are really thrilled to have them with us. We have our Jaipur, the JBM Haveli partner, venue partner in Rajkamal, Prakash and Samu. We are delighted to have them here. Innumerable publishers and friends with us. Storytel, Nielsen, the French Institute. Everyone comes together, and this is only possible with your collaboration. So with this, I now invite Sanjoy Roy to formally welcome you to what promises to be 4 days where books mean serious business. Sanjoy, the Managing Director of Teamwork Arts and the man.
Thank you so much, Anita. Welcome, everybody. Hatred and divisiveness is the predominant narrative in today's world. The one way to be able to overcome that is really through translations, is being able to overcome the fear of the other. As we know, not just in India, but in America, across Europe, migration and migrants bring to countries a sense of their culture, their tradition, their histories, and yet they are seen to be people to be feared. What translations can do and must do is bridge that gap, allow us in many ways a window into their lives, and allow us to understand that there is nothing to fear. Our stories, our narratives that the world shares and its people share are the same. The Jaipur Bookmark, we believe, is one of the most important aspects of this festival. It brings together publishers and agents and writers and thinkers. And I hope over the next 4 days, Neeta and Aditi and Namita have put together a fabulous program bringing together all of these kinds of people. And I hope you're going to be able to discuss how do we get better quality of translation? How do we get translations across languages and across countries? And most importantly, look into the future as to how people are going to be consuming some of this content. So we give to you the Jaipur Bookmark in its many avatars. Thank you all very much. I think on behalf of all of us at Teamwork and Namita and William, who's not here, and Jyotika and Ram Pratap, in whose beautiful Digi Palace we today sit, welcome to the festival. A special thank you to Niels for coming all the way, and I hope in your speech you tell us a little bit about why your country looks at books and translations as a way to be able to talk about your soft power. And I hope Naveen as friend and guide for so many years from the world of theatre, who produces, perhaps some of you've seen, Seagull's annual catalog, which is a collector's item, not just here, but again across the world. Sunandani is here, who designs it. And I hope you're also able to share with us some of what is the passion that's driven you in creating this wonderful niche publishing house. Thank you, Alind, for coming on board and supporting us. And after 3 years of absence, of 4 years, we've got Vera, who's here. And Vera said to me, I normally look at the program, and this year's program I saw and I really wanted to come. So I do hope that the program continues to interest you year on year, and we look forward to welcoming you all. I need to give a shout out to Jürgen Booz from the Frankfurt Book Fair. Again, what a magnificent event that is, where the whole world gathers to buy and discuss and trade books. And we hope that we are in the future able to come together and partner on much of what we've been talking about. Thank you and enjoy the festival, and may I invite Namita Gokhale, co-director of the Jaipur Literature Festival, also writer who's released in literally 2 weeks 2 books, and obviously is very good for the publishing world, Namita.
It just moves me to be here in the Darbar Hall, because this is the heart of our festival, where we began in the early years. And I feel that the Shakti, the strength of this festival resides in this old and very sacred hall. All the thank yous have been said by Neeta and Sanjoy, but I want to reiterate them, one and all. Naveen, for your creative and material support. So many, Rick for so many things, Jürgen Booz, the ambassador, Norway, Margit. I won't go on because we'll take up time. But embedded in the bustling heart of the Z Jaipur Literature Festival, the bookmark helps create collaborations and foster synergies between South Asia and the world. We look at the book in all its dimensions, from the essentials of meaningful content to the enhanced choices of platforms and technology formats. We welcome writers, translators, screenwriters, filmmakers, editors, designers, agents, publishers, booksellers, distributors. You'll be meeting them all in the JBM Haveli and the JBM Pavilion in the days to come. I would like to evoke and invoke the place of books in India and in South Asia in the literary culture here. Knowledge systems were passed down to succeeding generations through a rich oral tradition. Later, they came to be written on different materials such as rocks, copper plates, birch bark, palm leaves, parchment, and paper. It is estimated that the art of writing developed in India about 4,000 years ago. Manuscripts are distinct from archival records such as grants and decrees. These are our early books, these documents which refer to subjects as diverse as philosophy and religion, mathematics and astronomy, medicine and the natural sciences. These are tragically not adequately documented or preserved. We lose a wealth of these early books every single day. We are going to work on this aspect in the years to come in the festival, but I hope and believe that events like the Jaipur Bookmark will help once again restore the centrality of our book culture, to explore the past, the present, and most importantly, the future. Thank you.
I'd now like to request Mr. Niels Ragnar Kamswak to come up on stage and just give us a welcome address on behalf of the Royal Norwegian Embassy. Sir, please come up here. It's been a wonderful partnership, and we really value and cherish the friendship.
Thank you very, very much. It's always nice to look forward to January and Jaipur. I know, of course, when I came, I also got a task from Sanjay to answer in my speech, namely how we use this kind of as a platform for spreading Norwegian soft power, which I don't quite think we do. But I'll try to explain why we actually have been a country partner from the modest beginning some 6 years ago, or 5 years ago. It's the sixth festival, probably 5 years ago then. You know, most of you probably know that governments can't write books, can't really create art, and we do actually recognize that. But what we can do is actually to help promote art, and we can help spread it, help develop infrastructures for art, and we think that that's extremely important. And that's actually why we have been a country partner from Bookmark since the start. Because it's important that good books are written, it's important that good books are read, but it's actually, for that to happen, it's very important to have a good infrastructure for it, and not least have a good infrastructure for translating literature. And that we really think that the Jaipur Bookmark has been, and that's why we continue to contribute it. Whether it actually increases Norway's soft power, I really don't know. But it has helped spreading Norwegian literature, and actually for celebrating the fact that this is the 6th anniversary, which is a pretty round figure. All of you will also have at least one Norwegian book in the bags you all got, so probably that's our small attempt for soft power. Let me then also thank for all the good cooperation we have had with Sanjay, Namita, Nita, and also very nice to have Naveen Kishore on board, also a long cooperation partner for Norway, also with the same kind of intent, helping actually to develop a good infrastructure for literature in India. So thank you for all the good cooperation we have had, and we are looking forward to this day. Looks, as always, very exciting program. Thank you.
I now invite Naveen Kishore to come up on stage, the iconic publisher from Seagull Books and our associate partner. Naveen was our keynote speaker last year, and I think it's just a wonderful tradition to set Naveen for coming on board as an associate partner. We welcome you and invite you to say a few words. And of offering to come on board himself and guiding us through the year. I'm not saying anymore.
I'm actually going to say a few words on behalf of my friend Niels, who in his modesty didn't read this paper. So one tries to be ahead of the game, often at the risk of being out of step with the times. How else do you create? How else do you share the life you have experienced? Like clothes you have worn with the utmost of pleasure, your favorites, the ones that were handed down by wiser, older relatives. For that was the tradition. Now being handed over to siblings, the world as family, gift of wisdom, gathered over the years. What we inherit must be passed on. It was in this spirit that we conceived what has now become the Seagull School of Publishing. The urge to respond to the times, the lacuna, the vacuum, introspection, look inwards, seek solutions to the restlessness, the dissatisfaction with the way things were in the world we inhabited, the world of publishing. The fact that at one level we had more and more books being published, but no real infrastructure for training or research or hands-on teaching. And then it all happened by accident and chance. Like so many publishing stories, we met some people from a land called Norway, like-minded, minds that think alike, like each other and like each other, are mindful and courteous, even generous of the needs of the other, likely to agree, a meeting of minds, philosophies, ideologies the Norwegians had entered our lives. First as tentative visitors, then as welcome guests, later as a nation, now as family. Generous and supportive and willing to understand that in a diverse country like ours, there are no easy solutions. This resulted in our setting up the Seagull School of Publishing in Calcutta. Thank you. A school for publishing, editing, marketing, and distribution that teaches through actual hands-on doing, advises and assists potential graduates of the school in the possibilities of setting up independent publishing houses, bookstores, distribution networks, marketing and publicity agencies devoted specifically to the book trade, acts as an incubator for young people with ideas that have to do with books, a space for existing publishers to source potential editors and designers. Thank you and welcome to the next edition of the Jaipur Bookmark.
I now invite Vera Michalski to come up on stage and say a few words. Vera has been an associate and a supporter of the festival for several years now, and she is the founder of the Jan Michalski Foundation and a publisher of La Bella Books in France. Vera has been unable to come to the festival for the last couple of years due to her own, she'd tell us about it. So we welcome her back after a long hiatus of almost 3 years. Vera, please come up and let's hear it from you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. In 2004, 2 years after my husband died, I created the Jan Michalski Foundation for Writing and Literature. After 30 years of activity in international publishing. And the idea at the root of that foundation was to fight by all possible means against the declining of reading practices. So one of the areas was to help projects that went into the same direction. And this is why when William Dalrymple, after the second edition of the festival, sent a round email to all his contacts to say that the festival had been a success, but it needed some additional help to be able to stay on, we immediately stepped in and decided to help the Jaipur Festival. We have been loyal to the festival ever since, and as was said just before by Nita, I became a frequent visitor. I've seen the festival grown from a small gathering in the Dorbar Hall, which was, of course, already big by European standards, to the huge event it became now. And I'm afraid now that the help the foundation gives, loyal as it is, might be a drop in the ocean when I see all the big names of people who now fund the festival. But so I believe the festival fulfills, and the bookmark as well, because it brings all the publishers and the book people together, fulfills all the objectives of the Jan Michalski Foundation, namely attract people to books and reading. When you see the enormous amount of school children and students and curious people that gather in the bookstore, buy books and listen to all the excellent sessions, I mean, this is proof enough that books are alive, that books go on, that books are important. And the remarkable quality of the speakers that are invited every year is proof enough. And all of that makes for a fascinating and unforgettable experience. So I can only express my gratitude to all the people involved in the bookmark and the festival, Nita, Sanjoy, Namita, William, Urvashi, and I didn't see her yet, and all the other people, and thank you very much for making this festival possible and the bookmark as well.
Thank you, Vera, for this really warm address. I now welcome Margit Walsall on stage, who is the director of Norwegian Literature Abroad and is the key person in organizing Norway as the guest of honor country in the prestigious Frankfurt Book Fair this year. Margit is a seasoned publisher with over 18 years of experience in global publishing, and her new novel, The Perfumer, is making rounds and is of meaningful discussion in the book reading circles. Margit, welcome.
I was wondering about the presentation, but I'll just start talking. But it's, I can just, yeah, they are doing it now. But it's difficult for me because I don't see it.
It should come on your television.
Oh yeah, good, good. Then I'm... So then I just start to say that it's a great honor to be here, and thank you so much for the invitation. At Norla, the organization I represent, we are very happy about the way Bookmark and Jaipur Literature Festival has included Norway in this vibrant international venue. And we are also, oh, I think I just, we don't need the presentation. I can just talk, yeah. So not all of it is falling down. And of course, for Norla, we are also very much inspired by the embassy's work to make Norwegian literature travel in India. So the cooperation between Bookmark, the embassy, with all its partners, and Norla has been very important for us in the possibilities to bring Norwegian authors to India. So thank you so much. It's a great honor to stay these days. I also here with my colleague Oliver Møystad, who is sitting there. We also brought two outstanding Norwegian authors with us. You will meet them later at the festival. It's Maja Lunde and Hanne Ørstavik. So we are very happy. Norla, the organization I represent, both initiated and is now organizing Norway's year as a guest of honor at Frankfurter Buchmesse. This is something we do in addition to the normal tasks of Norla, which is an export organization for Norwegian literature abroad. We promote Norwegian literature all over the world, and we support translations. That's very important for us. And this work has given great results. So last year we saw more than 600 publications funded for 44 languages from Norway. So that's quite some numbers for our market. Here I would like to take the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about what Norway is going to do as a guest of honor in Frankfurt. Do you see something on the... Oh, this is... you have to go back a couple of... I can give you a sign when you change. This is way ahead of me. If you can go back some... many more. Yes, you can stop at that. That was my introduction. This is from the book fair last year when Norway got the baton from the guest of honor in 2018, which was Georgia. And together there, now you just, I can give a sign when I want to change it, because now you have to go back again. But never mind, take it from there. this is an author, a poet from Norway. He's called Ola H. Hauge. He was the inspiration for the Norwegian slogan as a guest of honor in Frankfurt, because the slogan for Norway is "The dream we carry." Der Traum in uns. It is in German. It comes from his poem, "It is that dream." And this poet is maybe the most famous and most beloved poet from Norway. And I really hope to also share the poem with you through our activities. The poem, "It is that dream," was voted by the Norwegian listeners to the broadcasting as the most popular and greatest Norwegian poem of all time. And to us, why I talk about this poem is that it describes the power of the arts. The arts has the ability to bring us into the unknown, and the dream we carry is that literature and arts from Norway this year will open hearts, surprise, and bring the audiences to places they have not been before, as it says in the poem, "into a cove we didn't know." And through literature, music, films, and other forms of the arts, we want to surprise and engage a German and an international audience throughout the whole year of 2019. So this is a very exciting year for us, and we hope to see as many of you during this year. The literary program is there we are. It is the literature program that is the beating heart of the Guest of Honor project. Now we see 247 Norwegian books will be translated into German in the course of 2018 and 19. And in a normal year, this number is around 40 books. So that says something about the increase we will see now and the possibilities. The voices between these books are thus a vital part of our project. These voices are diverse and represent both the rich contemporary literature as well as the classics. We will have events at book fairs, in houses of literature, in bookstores, and at literary festivals all over Germany. There we are at Leipziger Buchmesse, because now in March we will bring 22 Norwegian authors who will attend programs at the fair and in the city of Leipzig. And among other events, we are also hosting a Norwegian evening about freedom of speech with some of the excellent authors we bring there. Oh, maybe it's just not. But other art forms are also included in the project through the cultural program. We will show Ibsen plays at Schauspiel Frankfurt, and the Museum of Angewandte Kunst in Frankfurt will be transformed into the House of Norway. So we will also have a very exciting Munch exhibition curated by Karl Ove Knausgård, which has received a lot of attention when it was presented in Norway. I'm sorry for this, but we go ahead. In addition to being guest of honor at the book fair, Norway is also the country in focus at the European Film Market, at the Berlinale, and the partner country at Jazz Ahead in Bremen. So Norwegian culture and literature will be quite spread out in Germany and also with a view to the rest of the world this year. The culmination of the Guest of Honor year happens at Frankfurter Buchmesse from October 16th to 20th. There we will have a pavilion of 2,300 square meters inside the hall called Forum at the fairgrounds. And as many of you also go to the book fair in Frankfurt, we really hope to see you in the pavilion, because there we will present sort of the visual picture of Norway and Norwegian culture. So we think it would be worthwhile to attend it. As a guest of honor in Frankfurt, we have three main objectives. We would like to show the diversity of voices from Norway in all forms of the arts. We would like to spark the joy of reading, and not the least to promote the freedom of speech. As well as being an important year for Norwegian literature abroad, 2019 is an important year for literature in Norway as well, because this year has been named the Year of the Book in Norway. It was not only chosen because of Norway's role as a guest of honor, but it was also to celebrate our 500-year anniversary for the first printed books in Norway. The project aims to spark the joy of reading through hundreds of events in libraries and houses of literature all over Norway. And in a time where reading is challenged, we really think that this is so important to create new readers for the future. And of course, for us working with the internationalization of literature, to have this project at home is also very inspiring. Norway is an advocate for the freedom of speech, and the Guest of Honor project and Frankfurter Buchmesse is an excellent occasion and arena for us to promote this important free word and open dialogue, as we will do here at Bookmark, and all literary festivals are excellent examples of those kinds of venues where meanings can be exchanged in a good atmosphere. This year, last year, 2018, the Book Fair in Frankfurt celebrated 70 years since its reopening after World War II. Freedom of speech, freedom of publication, and an open international dialogue has been central at the fair ever since, and still are. The role of the fair as a platform for discussion on the free word is highly relevant, as we are a part of a world in change and in unrest. So this is some common goals that we all share here, I hope. Jørgen Baas, he is the director of Frankfurter Buchmesse and an important international voice and advocate for the freedom of expression and the freedom to publish. Throughout the years of preparation for Norway, we have collaborated with the book fair, and now in our Guest of Honor year, he has been very important to us at Norla and to our project as a whole. So with these words, I finish my words, and I warmly introduce Jørgen Baas to come up here. Welcome.
So, good morning to everybody. Namita, Sanjoy, Margit, thank you so much for your kind words. Vera, Excellency, thank you so much for the invitation to speak here today. I decided not to have a presentation, and I'm relying on paper, but it's a very large, so don't be scared if you see this pile of paper. So thank you so much again. The Jaipur Literature Festival is a festival of cultures, languages, ideas, and literatures. And I'm very, very privileged to have the chance over the next few days to listen to so many Indian authors and authors from abroad and personalities from around the world, and to converse with them. At this confluence of cultures, I'm pleased to address the friends from the trade at Jaipur Bookmark today. After all, there is the fundamental principle of any literature festival, creating an environment for interactions that promote the free exchange of ideas and opinions. The free exchange of ideas and opinions never has that been easier than today in the 21st century, and never has it been so threatened. Over the past 20 years, communications technology has taken an evolutionary leap, one that surpasses anything the most far-sighted science fiction writers of the 19th and 20th centuries could have imagined. If you remember Stanley Kubrick's film 2001, A Space Odyssey, from the year 1968, Dr. Heywood Floyd, an astronaut, has a video phone call with his daughter while at the space station. 50 years later, last summer actually, the German astronaut Alexander Gerst used his mobile phone to take fascinating photos of his time at the International Space Station, images which were transmitted around the world. Video phones, computer tablets, artificial intelligence, voice control. Many of the things that Kubrick envisaged 50 years ago have already become reality. According to the 2018 Global Digital Report, of the 4 billion people around the world who have access to the internet, we learned it's 500 million alone here in India, more than 3 billion use social media every month. 9 out of 10 users log onto their chosen platforms using mobile devices. The number of people who use the most popular platforms in the respective country has grown over the last 12 months by almost 1 million new users each day. What I find remarkable here is that not only has communications technology made a quantum leap, the devices that allow the world's population to participate in the global conversation have also become so inexpensive that almost everyone can afford one. That is, giving rise to a previously unknown participatory process, one that has the power to change democracy's traditional ground rules. Everyone today is in a position to publish whatever they want, using blogs, podcasts, self-publishing platforms, as well as traditional publishing houses. News is transmitted around the globe in the fraction of a second, and social networks allow us to reach more readers and viewers than ever before. In just a minute, I'm going to talk about the challenges and consequences that are resulting out of this for the publishing industry. First, however, let's look at the darker side of these developments. In the 21st century, a few select businesses have become private superpowers. They can do more than most countries to promote or prevent a free exchange of opinions. Via social networks, phenomena like the viral spread of fake news, hate speech, and slander now have a global impact. Professional trolls strategically destabilize political discourse online, fueling populists, nationalist, and anti-democratic tendencies throughout Europe and around the globe. One observes that, here in India, free speech is facing a threat sprouting from religious motivations, political biases, and social judgments. Attempts in the recent past to silence journalists, writers, filmmakers, and publishers reflect the rise of identity politics and apathy on the part of the state. 2 journalists of international repute, Gauri Lankesh and Jujat Bukhari, were shot dead within a span of 9 months. Publisher friends like DC Books, Kalachuvada Publications, and their authors have witnessed attacks by fanatics who may have never even read the books in question. When I look at the hysteria, hatred, and hostility that characterize the discussion in social media, the permanent state of turmoil that societies around the world find themselves in, then I begin to doubt whether we are actually capable of using the communications technologies whose development we are so proud of. To paraphrase Goethe, die Geister, die ich rief, the spirits I called, I now cannot rule. In social media, language is used as a destructive weapon day in and day out, and it's become clear how disastrous this can be for those individuals targeted by the bullying. It can even lead to murder. In his 2016 book, Free Speech, which most of you might know, the British historian Timothy Garton Ash examines the questions of how free speech should take place. He asks which social, journalistic, educational, artistic, and other possibilities can be realized to ensure that free speech proves beneficial by facilitating creative provocation without destroying lives and dividing societies. He comes to the conclusion that the less we want to have laid out by law, the more we have to do ourselves. After all, Ash explains, there's no law that can draw a line between freedom and anarchy. Every individual must look within before expressing himself or herself and must take responsible decisions. I would like to talk with you about this how in the coming days and hear your opinions. Personally, I feel that the participatory process I mentioned before requires us, our industry, the book people, but also each of us individuals to take a stance. Expressing an opinion of this type was long reserved for politicians or the media. Today in the 21st century, we all have the possibility of making our voices heard. And we should not do that in keeping with the motto, overused but uninformed, but in a carefully considered manner. I believe that this permanent state of turmoil is troubling. This hysteria which does not stop at speech, but which now increasingly leads to violence. Personally, I'm very much alarmed at how the language we use is becoming increasingly coarse, and following from that, the way we interact with each other. The problem about this state of turmoil is that it usually results in the exclusion of others and consequently causes even deeper trenches to be dug. Yet, how can we deal with the challenges of our time and find solutions to them, if not in a dialogue with each other? That leads to the questions, what responsibility do publishers bear? Does our industry bear today in the post-Gutenberg era? How can publishing houses and their products remain relevant in an age in which fake news can be disseminated faster than well-researched books? In which rumors, supposition, and conjecture are more quickly viewed, liked, and shared than text capable of explaining complex contexts. As my friends Kristen Einarsson and Jose Borghino from the IPA have pointed out on many occasions, if we are to create and maintain free, healthy societies, then publishers must have the will and the ability to challenge established thinking, preserve the history of our cultures, and make room for new knowledge, critical opposition, and challenging artistic expressions. You, publishers in the 21st century, are in a privileged position. The industry looks back on a long tradition, on the one hand, and has built a reputation. Publishers are gatekeepers. They filter and assess content, they curate before they publish. They consider it part of their job to publish content that is well-researched, documented, checked, and carefully assembled as a way of contributing to the range of opinions present in society. On the other hand, they now have the possibility of reaching their readers through various channels, offering their expertise, their content, and their opinion exactly where their target group is found. Publishers and authors in many parts of the world risk their lives by writing or bringing out books that criticize regimes, uncover injustices, and shed light on political failures. On November 15, 2018, the day of the imprisoned writer, Arundhati Roy wrote the following in a letter to the Bangladeshi writer, photographer, and human rights activist, Shahidul Alam. How your work, your photographs, and your words has over decades inscribed a vivid map of humankind in our part of the world, its pain, its joy, its violence, its sorrow and desolation, its stupidity, its cruelty, its sheer crazy complicatedness onto our consciousness. Your work is lit up, made luminous, as much by love as it is by probing, questioning, anger born of witnessing firsthand the things that you have witnessed. Those who have imprisoned you have not remotely understood that it's what it is that you do. We can only hope for their sake that someday they will. As you know, Shahidul Alam was taken into custody in July of last year after he criticized the government of Bangladesh in an interview with Al Jazeera and in various Facebook posts. Fortunately, he has since been freed, but the charges against him remain. Without wanting to turn these very personal remarks by Arundhati Roy into a generalization, I just would like to say that she has put it into a nutshell when she writes that, through their work, writers, authors, journalists, and artists draw a vivid map of humankind in our part of the world. Journalists and other authors write despite intimidation and threats. Like Shahid Alam, they are driven by a mixture of love and anger. For that, they deserve our highest esteem and respect. Writers and journalists are being intimidated and forced into silence all around the world because of their political and social engagement, something we condemn in the strongest possible terms. As discoverers and disseminators of ideas and free thought, we, as a community, have a greater responsibility to uphold freedom of expression. At the same time, we cannot withhold our criticism of its misuse. I hope to have the chance to speak with many of you about these issues in the coming day. It's so pressing, so thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jürgen. It was a brilliant, sort of putting it together for us today and giving us something to think about over the next 4 days. And on behalf of Jaipur Bookmark, I just want to thank all our special guests today, His Excellency. Thank you so much for being here. Naveen, thank you for your words. I want to thank Margit and I really want to apologize for that small technical glitch in the middle. Namita, Sonjoy, Urvashi, Aditi, Pramod, all of you being here means so much. Bipin, Claudia, thank you so much for being here, and let's just have a great festival. Welcome and enjoy yourself. Thank you.